The 3 best foods to increase your testosterone. We're going to jump right into it. Number 3 would be red meat. Red meat is overall a great thing to have because of the fat inside, the protein, and the thing that especially increases testosterone inside of red meat is the zinc. Zinc is very good for your body and increases testosterone. You can find red meat in ground beef, you can find it in steak, you can find it in elk, any of these things that is just red and meaty. We'll go over what to look for specifically and what not to get later on, because it's actually shocking what these things can do to you if you don't find the right thing. Number 2, eggs. Of course, this has protein, but it also increases your testosterone drastically. Inside of the egg, the omega-3s, vitamin D, and cholesterol are the nutrients that will increase your testosterone levels. Now, the number one thing that I feel increases my testosterone is fish. The thing inside of the fish that increases your testosterone the most is omega-3s, vitamin D, the fat, and the oils in the fish. Now, of course, like I did, you should experiment with different foods and different ingredients to see what you feel makes you feel the best. Because I know that fish makes me feel the best, but that could be different for you. Now, of course, keep those 3 things in mind and try to incorporate them into your diet every single day, as much as you can. I would suggest getting in at least 6 eggs a day and 1 fillet of fish or red meat, even turkey, per day. So what to look for? In the meat, any meat, you're looking for grass-fed. Now, especially with cows and in red meat, if you don't see grass-fed, oftentimes they feed them the cheapest thing. Now, what's the cheapest thing to feed your cows? Corn. And what the corn has done to cows, because it's an unnatural thing for them to eat, they've grown and evolved through time to eat grass. But eating the corn, they've evolved to get E. coli, which is this deadly disease that is now spreading in the low-quality foods that they feed corn to their cows and make these cows into food in McDonald's and all of these fast food large companies who just need the quickest, easiest, cheapest food. So they're feeding their cows corn, which is giving them E. coli, which is going into us, and there are like 25 casualties of people who just ate their food and died because of E. coli. So look for grass-fed. If it doesn't say grass-fed, please stay away from it. For the eggs, there are so many different things that people label their eggs with. There's free range, there's pasture-raised, there's organic. So let me just explain some of them to you. Free range could be, let's use this as an example. Imagine a chicken growing here and it's just giving its eggs out. This could be the free range area that it's allowed to stay in. Imagine this as a cage and there's this one chicken here. That's its entire life, just sitting here, popping eggs out until it dies. This could be a free range zone, or even smaller. So don't trust the free range. Organic means it has been fed organic food its entire life, which means it could still be in one of these small boxes, but it's got organic food in it. But the best thing that you want to look for basically means that they grew up in a big open field where they were foraging for their own food. They weren't fed any bad food like corn, but they foraged and they found their food. They lived like a regular chicken should. This is pasture raised. So get the pasture raised ones. That's the best option. Now, to test at home whether you've got high quality eggs or not is whether the yolk is dark or light. If your yolk is a dark orange color and it's thicker, that usually means that it's more healthy and is less unnatural. If it's white and watery, it's usually not of high quality. Now for fish, I'm not an extreme expert on this, but wild caught. You want to find fish that are from lakes or rivers or the ocean that are just wild caught. Because if they're farmed and they're fed corn and all this bad stuff, and they're so close to each other that they could just give each other diseases and they could pass on to you, just like the meat from cows. When I try to give people this diet advice, usually they come at me with the regular thing, which is trying to oppose me even though I'm trying to help them. And they're always wrong and always lied to, and they just believe the stuff that people tell them to because they have nothing else to believe. Some lies that have been told that people still believe is that salt is bad for you. What salt does is it helps your body absorb more water. So if you can, put salt on your food. Don't add way too much to where it's like super salty, but add enough to where you like it and you're getting that salt in. Because I've been told it gives you heart attacks or it's just bad for you. It's just nonsense. Fat on animals, like you get the bacon and it's meaty and then fat, that is actually very good for you. As hunter-gatherers and in our tribes hundreds, thousands of years ago or thousands of years ago, we would hunt animals and then we'd pick through them, cut them up, cook them on the fire as a tribe, and we'd see this fat on the meat. And that was basically like the dessert. You'd eat it with the meat, of course, but it was like the tasty part that you want to savor and that you want to eat the most. It's the best part of the meal. So humans have grown to love fat and eat a lot of it. And so why would it be unhealthy now? Brian Johnson, this guy who reverses aging, he sold his company for a bunch of money and he's spending it on trying to reverse aging in himself, try to live as long as he can with just reversing his aging. And he came out with this thing that was found that Coca-Cola and the big sugar companies that sell their sugar or they sell the bags of sugar and just the sugar industry paid nutritionists and schools to teach nutrition and everyone to blame obesity on and fat people getting fat on the nutrient fat rather than on sugar when it's actually sugar. And with eggs, I told someone in school who wanted to know about my diet that eggs are really good for you should eat a lot of eggs. And he said, aren't eggs bad for you? Like everyone else will tell you, and the teachers as well. Now, if you're a fat ass and you sit all day and don't do any exercise, then maybe the cholesterol inside of the eggs could build up in your veins. But that's if you're on the complete wrong track. So basically what I said to this person was, guess what your brain is made out of? 70% of the brain is cholesterol. So what you're doing is you're taking the egg's cholesterol and you're putting it in your body and it's going to your brain and helping your brain function better and your whole body just feels better. What the doctors are telling you is wrong because they're all fat and they don't take care of their own diet. But can you blame them? Because what they were taught was what people were bribed into teaching. If you ever buy something from the store that has a label on it, usually with these eggs and red meat and fish, they don't have labels on it because they're whole foods. But if you have something that has a label on it, avoid the additives. So if there's more than one ingredient on it, try to avoid that. But especially unnatural sugars. Some sugars that you should especially avoid are glucose. Back in South Africa, my mom had a job that I did sometimes where we would make blood for, like theatrical blood for movies. And there were these big buckets of glucose that we'd use for the texture and we'd mix in the colorings and everything like that. And you can just imagine in your food having that thick, gross sugar syrup inside of it. Another one which is in like Prime Hydration, that big company, and a lot of other things, is sucralose. Sucralose, I think, is luckily a very sweet one, so they don't use a lot of it. but what it does is breaks down the DNA inside of your body. So avoid having too much of that. Basically, anything that has os on the end means it's sugar. The only thing that has sugar in it that I would suggest is that Joko Go or Joko brand, because they have those energy drinks that have fermented sugar cane, not cane sugar, sugar cane. What cane sugar is just white sugar, like table sugar. So it's no different. But sugar cane is the stuff that you grow and you actually just harvest. So it's that harvested stuff fermented. If you cannot read an ingredient in your food, then research about it. Or if you don't want to research about it or can't do that, and you can't read the ingredient, just forget about the food. Just don't eat it. Hope this helped.